Hey guys, welcome back to the episode of the Quarter Clock Talk Podcast. It's your boy John, and as always, we are here to bring you the latest in football. After what has been a barnstorming week in the Champions League this week, we are going to continue what we did last week. We're going to start with the Champions League, look forward to the second round of fixtures, and then from that, we'll touch on leagues, any little stories that we think might be interesting, and yeah, wrap it up from there. This week, I have a short cast, but a powerful cast nonetheless. I have me and Pats. Pats, was it good, my guy?
Good as always. What's going on?
Just generally, right? Like, how did you like enjoy this last week at Champions League? Because I think generally, bro, I think across the board, all four games were just absolutely fantastic.
Nah, that's true. I get all the results I wanted. So every single one. I can
It's
ask for
true.
to be
Hey,
any
I
better.
do have the results, so we will go through them when we talk from team by team. However, guys, last week I did like tease you all. I did leave the Arsenal Real to last, whereas this week we will tackle it from the top, right?
Okay.
However, to start off the pod, I am going to play a voice note from Brandon that he sent at the end of full time, at the end of Arsenal 3-0 against Real Madrid. And so this was his instant reaction. It needed a bit of editing due to the target audience that we have on this podcast. We try to keep it
Uh,
family friendly. So yeah, let me go with that.
Dog, let me tell you what is really the scene right now, right? All of me not know it,
Yeah, right.
but that was one of the biggest statements of the season, bro. Dog, on Saka on 1.5 hamstrings and a dead squad, look the best front three as they are claimed to be in the world, and said, hold that, bro. Dog, all I have no idea that all I can't even conceive it yet, bro. But that's one of the best Champions League performances you will ever see in your life, bro. You can talk to me about Messi scoring 5 or whoever beating whoever 7 or whatever, bro. That was proper football, bro. Them terms reduce their money to the lowest levels they have ever been to, bro. I
I
never,
guess.
ever want to hear any of all you tell me that Vinicius is the best player in the world. Never. Please don't ever tell me
Nice.
ever. And my Johnson, Rodrigo should start Mbappe. Bro, give me a break. Please, if they start for Bangladesh FC, I love Mbappe. What is Mbappe doing today? His best version of Henry Theory. And what he was doing today. Is he not celebrating on his celebration in the Emirates, bro? The only celebrating on Emirates he doing is if he was taking a plane. Please, all it be for real. All you have no idea what they just watch, bro.
Nice.
Unseen.
I like the passion. I
Hey,
definitely
I
passion.
do, I do. And I mean,
I
like,
do.
for those of y'all who know Brandon, I do think, like, the Arsenal versus Real Madrid really encapsulated a lot of what he believes in football of, like, forget all narrative, forget all, like, circumstances. Go out there and prove what you can do in those 90 minutes. And amidst, like, whatever missing players, obviously, it's Real Madrid. It's about 15 UCLs versus 0. Go out there and really prove yourself. And I really think Arsenal did that. So just before we get into a little bit more nitty gritty, I don't want to spend the whole part on this because I can, because
Fair
I
enough.
did feel a beaming sense of pride in those players. Um, but Gerald, over you, how did you feel as the game progressed and at the end of it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I saw it differently because in the first half, I actually thought Madrid did well because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's never going to be easy for any club right now going to the Emirates to play, right?
Yeah,
Even for Madrid, well, as we saw, it so I thought that maybe they will go there and have a more conservative approach. I think the predicted scorelines that I gave kind of reflected that too. I thought, shoot, I don't even know if I don't remember what my predictions was. So I don't know if I
I'll
said
get
a
fair. Don't
draw.
worry.
I feel like
I'll
I said
get fair.
1-1. Did I say 1-1?
I want to say that you said 1-1. I think I
And you
and
said 0-0.
Virgil was the only ones who said Arsenal would win. Nobody said 3-0. I know for sure Salek said that he thought that Real would win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
I don't remember what I said.
right, okay, good. I found it.
Mm.
So I said 2-1 to Arsenal. Brandon said 2-3 to Real. You said 1-1, as you just said, and Virgil said 1-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was going to be a conservative approach from Madrid, right? And in all
Mm-hmm.
fairness, by the end of the first half, I thought that the plan for both teams was working, because
Yeah.
I again I felt, this is just me, felt that this was some of the best defense that I've seen Madrid put down. Now, it wasn't fantastic, but by their standards, I thought it was decent. You don't usually see
Yeah.
Madrid just soaking in pressure. This season, that's not really something that we've seen. But I thought they did well enough. Dealing with Saka is not easy, and they don't have their best backline out there. But yeah, I thought they did well enough. But as soon as a free kick like that goes in, then it's like, okay, no. You see, here's the thing, right? I think like a free kick like that is psychologically damaging, because it's like we've done all that we can and have been successful to minimize chances in the box, right? But
Yeah.
then that goes in and it's like, ah, you know that kind of
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of way is
It,
like,
it comes like
why?
mentally after that, it felt like they capitulated a little bit because it
Yeah,
felt like they did what they can do. And then
yeah,
that happened, you know? And I do feel
yeah.
like that kind of resonate with a lot of like even Arsenal fans in a sense, because like I think like Arsenal does really well to be defensive against a lot of teams. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a team would score a real low quality chance. But that is why like at the highest level of football, and again it's something like Brandon pushes all the time, is that it's about your high end quality and your ability to show that quality in the highest at the highest
For
stages.
sure.
And you know, that's what Declan managed to do there. Not
Yeah, that
once,
was
but
wild.
twice.
Yeah, that was actually wild. Doing
Yeah.
that twice is insane. I thought Arsenal defended really, really well. I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, I understand the sentiment from Brandon that maybe Vinicius and Mbappe and company aren't having their best time right now, but it's still Vinicius, it's still Mbappe, it's
Mm-hmm.
Bellingham, Rodrigo. Those guys, they are not easy to to nullify, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
Arsenal especially in that second half. I can't think back to any clear chances that Madrid had.
yeah.
I think
And I mean,
the
as you say, right, these things is like both things have to happen at the same time for it to happen. In the
yeah,
sense that like, you know, Arsenal defended really well, which resulted in these players playing bad in a lot of these situations. Defensively, I mean, you know, talk about like how well, because I thought Saliba had like, you know, we talk about we want these players to rise to have the game of their lives in these moments, but I thought that was Saliba's best game. And it might not have been the game
easily.
that he put in the most tackles and most headers or stats, whatever. Just the sheer fact, Patrick, that he had to play his hardest game of his career, at least at club level, without his partner next to him against some of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Like just doing it under those circumstances, bro, elevated every action, every word, every ball carry, every pass to me that he did on the night.
Right. No, for sure. I would even say that I was kind of wrong about the game, in a sense that when I went into halftime and I was 0-0, I think I messaged in some group chat. I don't know which one.
Mm,
I don't really talk in group chats like that, so it's hard to remember. But that Madrid will probably push on and win the game from here, because that's
yeah,
kind of
I
what
had
you
that
always
feeling
see.
too. Truthfully, I
Yeah.
had that feeling too.
And that's what you tend to see with Madrid. That if they could weather the storm for a little bit, that is always
Yeah,
just like Madrid is a team, especially in the Champions League. They just get stronger as time passes.
as
It's like
time goes
it's
by, yeah.
like a hurricane moving over the
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic type of thing. Whereas like every minute that tick by, they just really settle into their groove. So I felt when Arsenal weren't able to score in the first half, and they had a couple chances to do so, but
Yeah, yeah,
Marino is not really a nine, so maybe he couldn't get on. Maybe he didn't read to get on the end of those balls that Saka was playing across. So look, whatever the case is, it doesn't matter. But
mm-hmm.
the reality is Arsenal had chances and weren't able to score, and then from there I thought, okay, Madrid might actually get it here. They wouldn't deserve it, but they might get it.
Yeah.
And then
That's just football. Yeah,
and it was the total opposite. It was actually Arsenal that ended up stealing it, and I'm using the word steal because those two free kicks were kind of outrageous. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, no, it
he
was.
has,
Yeah,
especially the second one, he has no business. Actually, both of them, he really has no business scoring those. Those are like really, really hard techniques to execute. The first one, I think he went around the wall,
Yeah, he did.
but
Yeah,
to
the
get that pace on
second
it.
one, bro.
Look, I don't even know
Whoa,
which
you're
one
right.
is more impressive because the first one he got a lot of pace, like to whip it around.
Yeah, to whip it
But at that
around.
pace
Yeah,
is
yeah,
really difficult to like. You have to generate a lot of spin, and then you need the pace to beat Courtois, because
yeah,
Courtois is really long. So that's a really tough free kick. And then the second one is like he went near side, but like 30 yards out, or like 28 yards out, whatever. But he went near
yeah,
side, so anywhere but absolute rifle into the top corner is not going to work. And
yeah.
like I don't know how he got that accuracy from 30 yards out with that power. That's a really hard technique. I think if he wasn't 6'2", he probably can't score that, because you need the leg,
Yeah,
that long leg to generate that kind of momentum. Short players don't really have it like that. So hey, shout out to Rice. Why you don't we should hand it over to you here now, because I sure you have a lot more to say about the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do think that what Arsenal has lacked, and probably what is the reason, a big reason as to why they have not won the title, that why they have not gone further in the champion. Well, there's only second in the Champions League under Arteta, but is the lack of quality in the high end moments. So yes, turning up on games that might be seeming level. 'Cause I did think at the first half, I think it was level. I think that Arsenal had some defensive lapses that Real could have capitalized on. I do think Arsenal could have capitalized on moments that they created. Even in the first save was one of Courtois' double saves. Before he went on to do it again in the second half, like
Yeah.
so unnecessary and ridiculous. And it's about mentally for me them being there to understand, like, you just have to be resilient even if you don't get it all your way as soon as you wanted it to. Because I think Arsenal did start really well. And I think like the first 15 minutes Arsenal were really on top. And then after that I think it went into this lull, and I think Madrid started to have some chances. And the moment for me that the tide really turned and and Arsenal started to really get momentum was the first time Saka took the ball and took on Alaba and then put a chance in the box. I think I like the whole stadium gasped with it. I think at that moment everybody was like, "Oh wait, we are actually this close to them to scoring." And from there they started to build a little more, build a little more. And I want to say that was around like the 35th minute. And honestly, from the 35th minute onward, I genuinely cannot remember a Madrid chance. I think they took
Yeah.
that momentum to halftime, and then after halftime, they came back out the same way. And the two free kicks were one, exactly how you would imagine it. Saka dribbling, can't be contained, having to foul him, having to bring him down. And somebody messaged me, I was like, they were surprised by Saka's strike. I was like, bro, I remember like 3 years ago, Declan Rice was playing for West Ham at the time. Tried to body him on a ball coming down, and Saka body him back, control the ball, drive to the box. Like, he has an unreal upper body strike, and then obviously the quality that Rice showed. And as you rightfully say, the game was knife edge until then. That shattered Madrid mentally on the night. And this is mentality monsters we're talking about here, right? That they are resilient, they always go. In fact, since then, all I have been seeing is that the comeback is on. They really believe they're going to do it. They think they could, whatever, right? But I think, like, as much as that is something out of nothing that Rice did, and I am fully in agreement with that, we see so many times that is how Madrid goes on to win these Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
Is somebody producing something out of nothing. When they seem down and out, when they seem like they don't know where some chance going to come from, somebody produces that top shelf level of quality. And that is what Declan Rice did in that moment. And from there on, the entire team started to believe that, yeah, bro, we could do this. We could do this. They didn't sit back at 1-0 pat. They was going again. How they win the second free kick? Well, they was trying to go again. After that, the third one was the third goal to me is archetypal Arteta goal. How exactly he wants it done. Build out through the back, will make them try feel like they could press up, play through that press, build out wide, cut it back top of the box, find some way to get a shot off and score. And that is how Marino scored. And I think now even though again, like, we talk about Madrid and you need all the caveats of who they are and whatever, that I don't think Madrid, outside of name, are one of the best sides remaining in this tournament. They obviously have the star quality. And what that star quality means that, like, they could take 3-quarter chances and score 3 goals, and before you know it, win extra time in the Bundesliga next week, right? Well, sorry, next game, right? But I think in terms of getting past them on a mental level, it just pushes what this Arsenal team could do in a whole lot of stratosphere. Because the thing is, right, I do think that PSG are really good, and more than likely they are the ones that are going to go through. But like, I do think just because of Arsenal's resiliency, Arsenal's ability to defend well, and Arsenal's ability, I think at home to be really strong as well. Plus the mental boost this game going to give, it can be the propellant once they actually do get past them to actually see themselves as a viable team to win this competition this season, you know, and take it one game at a time and see where it goes from there. Um, I want to touch a bit more on just Rice for a second in the sense that um, we've seen him play 8, we've seen him play 6. Um, my personal opinion, and I'll say this now, I've been saying this for over a year now, is that I think the player that he reminds me the most of is Yaya Toure. His ability to pick up the ball, run with the ball at his feet, his ability to, well, now he's displaying set pieces as well.
Yeah.
His defensive solidarity, his rocket of a right foot. I don't think that he might be, as tidy technically as he is, but I do think that there's a lot of main aspects of Yaya's game, especially when he was at City, of driving forward, being a real good ball carrier, being a physical presence, being strong defensively. And with that, I don't want to see him anchored playing as the 6 because I think that the more and more that Arteta deploys him as his 8, we see so much more facets to his game that I don't want to limit him to holding at the base in midfield. But what do you think is the best position for Declan Rice?
Number 6, because I think that's where he could really start to differentiate himself in the football scene. I almost said soccer. To have so many qualities.
American boy. American.
Hey, I say the word soccer at least 100 times a day. So
I can imagine.
It's one of the main vocabulary anchor points at this point.
Yeah.
And I had a tournament all weekend, so
yeah.
It's fine. Get ready for the soccer game. Come on. But lots of that. But hey, I would say number 6. And is from a different standpoint is really because it have such a lack of quality number 6s
in the game.
Now. And then half of them don't have the physical attributes that Rice have. I think that's where he could really make his legacy. So if we go in legacy now, I think it's easier for him to be remembered as a top, like a world-class number 6 as opposed to number 8. I mean, he could definitely do it as a number 8 as well, but it's just like, it's almost like a saturated market. Everybody wants to be a 8 these days.
Yeah.
But
I think like
there's such a lack for like top quality 6s, and he has the physical attributes to be so dominant.
To really dominate that 6.
And no one says that your 6 can't be a ball carrier. Like no one says that. Like football is very different from system to system, And he could definitely use his ball carrying, his ball carrying. Let's just use ability because I was thinking of a different word, but I can't remember it. And any team could use that. He could do that from 8 or from number 6, So just because, like, I see the sentiment that you don't want to see him tied down to that position, but why does he have to be tied down? Why does the 6 have to necessarily be tied down?
Well, actually, with what you saying, it actually probably lends really well into the next thing I want to talk about, which was we didn't talk about Saka, and I didn't even think that as like one of Saka like creates games, whatever. But I do think that it was one of those that really embody one of the biggest things about Saka that I appreciate to have him rated as highly as I do is that, like, don't forget circumstances. He's gonna try. He's clearly not all the way there in terms of match sharpness. Yes, he's fit, but like match sharpness to know when to shoot, to be in the groove. He's not in the groove yet. He's still forcing issues though, and he's still trying to have an impact on the game. So that was that. We talked about Rice. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was actually Miles Lewis-Skelly. And I think that, like, his breakout this season also helps with, like, if you play him, even as an inverted left back or even as an 8, whatever it might be, with somebody like Rice, say, Arsenal could be set for the next how much years with the two of them playing at the base of the midfield. going
True.
forward, you know. And I mean, like, we watched this astronomical rise, bro. I mean, like, I know Arsenal inside and out, right? Because of my affiliation. Even at the start of the season when we was doing breakout player, when we was doing like 4 players to keep an eye on, I said Eton, and Eton has had a really nice breakout season. I still think, even though Miles is getting all the spotlight now, he still had a good first year. But bro, last week we was doing predicted lineups, right? You said Miles gonna start chess, and your iron way always was Miles is gonna start because he's just that good. And it's because, like, it's been normalized. Him playing at this level is normalized. Like, bro, Brandon just trashed Rodrigo, and understandably so after that performance. But, like, playing against these 4-time Champions League winners, playing against elite as or world class winners, that is not no normal feat. And we
That's
seen him
true.
doing week in, week out, plus ball carrying, plus created chances. He got the assist for the third goal, actually. And all rounded player, bro. And, like, for me, like, his estimation has gone like so high. Like this is not just a youngster anymore. He is capable. This is the highest level of club football you can ask for. And if Rice did score 2 absolute screamers in this game, he was going to be my man of the match. He
Yeah.
was
You know.
willing to see Jude running off of his back, to see whoever running off his back, to see Rodrigo going on his side. Give me the ball in the pocket. I still taking it. 18 years old boy, Pats boy, at this level, first season in the first team.
Hmm.
And they're saying, you know what, boy, I receiving this under pressure. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if on top of everything I just said, if you have anything you want to add to him. But, like, that was the 3 players that I really wanted to highlight from this tie on the Arsenal side before we talk about Madrid.
No, I mean just in general, I think his rise has been very surprising to me. I didn't really know who he
Yeah.
was before this
Yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah.
I don't dig up in, which I probably should more, to be fair. But I don't really dig up in academy football like that. But in due time, I will start. But anyway, yeah. But nah, he's really good. I what I like about him mostly is his build. Like, he kind of stocky, kind of strong,
Yeah,
type
yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
I think he has a really good build to platform a good career here. As a I would say my suggestion is stick with the left back because it's
Mm-hmm.
going so well. Just hone into that craft. But if you want to compete for midfielder as well, it's within your right. You know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
would like to see him, hone in as a left back because left backs again, it's another rare commodity these days. It's hard to find
Yeah.
like left backs that are that are capable at both ends of the field. And these days, that's what you need from fullbacks. A lot of times now you
Yeah.
find fullbacks, especially left backs, that are really good attackers, but typically have that defensive,
Defensive liabilities.
inadequacies. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but he doesn't. So based off of that, I would say stay at that left back and just hone in your craft. You know,
Yeah.
but
No, no,
he's been
totally
really good.
agree.
Yeah,
And now just looking on the Madrid side of things, obviously it was not a great showing. And it did feel like if, you know, most of the, I mean, you were the one last week to give Arsenal a real fighting chance going into this game. And obviously they paid dividends by returning to you. But,
oh
like,
yeah,
most people, I feel like,
yeah, but I didn't expect. I didn't expect
no,
to
3-0
lose that
is.
3-0. I didn't
But
expect
to
that.
be fair, bro, I do think not a 3-0 is up to whatever. But I think 3-0 is so fitting because this is exactly what Madrid do teams. That, like,
Yeah.
the whole game don't have to be 3-0 in it. Like, yeah, bro, they was created every 20 seconds, whatever. But Madrid, when they have their foot on your neck, bro, they twist
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah, for sure,
turn and
for
make
sure,
sure they get the most out of you, even if they only step on it in the 85th minute.
for
And I think
sure.
that's what Arsenal did really well because we're gonna talk about the tie in the Bernabeu in a moment, and we're gonna talk about how Arsenal gonna approach it. But regardless of what we see, they going in there making Madrid still feel like they have a real task at their hand. They can't just rely on
Yeah.
aura. It's not just talent. They have to have some kind of game plan going into it. But I don't know if there was anybody in Madrid in particular you wanted to talk about after this tie. Obviously, Brandon mentioned all the attackers didn't really have much big games. I know that Carlo had a big call to make as to who he was starting right back, and that obviously had effects on the midfield. I'm not sure if you felt like he got it right or wrong in the end, but yeah,
I don't know, dog. I don't know. I
it was
thought,
hard. Yeah.
yeah, I could see that the plan was more conservative.
Yeah.
But that's so weird.
Vasquez started in midfield. Sorry, Vasquez started at right back was an indicator that it was going to be more conservative.
Yeah.
Kid did say like he was more concerned with trying to make sure to lock off the two wingers rather than what they could do going forward.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just. But now in hindsight, it looks like he got it wrong, right? Because I would have liked to see them go for it and just see what happens. Now, it's probably too late. Because there's just no way that they're scoring 3 goals on us now. I don't see it.
Yeah.
If it happens, then shit, shout out to them, man. But I don't see it.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to get gladder, but truth is, I don't see it either. And I know, like,
Nobody
his
should
famous
see it.
last words to ever
Maybe
write off Madrid, but one, like, this is not that Madrid. And two, I think, like, this Arsenal have this reputation of, like, bottling and, like, obviously, Arsenal are not having a good league campaign and stuff like that, right? But, like, I do think that bottling for what Arsenal deemed it at is not what I don't think is apt. And he says that like this is not a team that regularly throws away leads. You know, this is a team that has this ridiculous run going against the Big Six where they're undefeated. You know, they beat Chelsea for the last 1,000 days, United, Liverpool, unbeaten in the last 3 years, City these last 2 years. Like they do really well when asked to rise to the occasion. You know, and I do think that going into this tie next week that I'm not doubting Madrid gonna score, but I really find it unlikely to believe that they're gonna score 3 without reply. You know?
We'll see if they even score. Because
Yeah.
Arsenal defend well, and Madrid just they're not looking cohesive in the front, which is everything that we said. Like, if you think back to what I said, right, or what we all said basically, logically it makes sense for Madrid to struggle, but then when Champions League comes, it just becomes different. So it's one of them weird ones. It's hard to predict Madrid in Champions League, but everybody knew that they were struggling. This hasn't really been a good season for them. There was a little blip where they were looking good around like December, January area, but now not again. And meanwhile, Arsenal just got hit with Saka came back. Odegaard, I thought was good on the day. Martinelli came back. It was a lot.
Yeah, and has been in some nice form. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and Marino started to actually like play a lot better at night. Not all the way there, because truthfully, he scored a great goal, but I didn't really find he had a good game. Like too many, because he's not a striker, and that is why like it's just whatever. Like nobody got really criticize of it, but yeah.
Cool.
The other thing.
The next one or not? Because
just now. No, we will. Because we have to do it for all. But the last thing on Madrid is that like, is it that? Well, no. So it wasn't. I wasn't going to say Madrid per se, but I was gonna say that like, with Arsenal actually beating them, that again game past them. We always talk about history in this competition, right? And beating Madrid doesn't mean like Arsenal want to get 3 UCLs for just beating the 15-time holders, right? But I do think that what Arsenal need in order to go on and finally write history is that this group needs to have that sense of belief to them. And by knocking out Madrid at any point, and like, again, it's not like to say like they went into this and they thought they was going to play against Mariano and Jesse Rodriguez, They knew they was going to play against somebody who thought he was robbed of a Ballon d'Or, somebody who feel he's going to win a Ballon d'Or, and somebody who feel he's the best left back in the world besides the other 2 men that he playing against, plus Jude, and whatever else prestige on the side comes with, right? In order to go and write history for yourself, you need to have the belief that you're going to do so. And I think by knocking out this Madrid side, they might finally have the self-belief and character development in order for them to go and do that. So we'll see what happens. Before I get score prediction, I have anything about the tie on the whole, the second leg. Thibaut Courtois, by the way, first leg, unnecessary and amazing. Truthfully, he can sit on the bench for the next leg. That would make some people's lives a lot easier. But yeah, I'm going to go for 2-2 in the Bernabeu.
I go in 0-0.
I would take it to the boring, plain, simple 0-0. All right, well, we're going for 2 draws. So I'll get from the rest of the team what they take. Cool. All right, let me go through the rest of these.
You happen to see that?
Bro, insane,
losing their
innit?
heads, boy.
They are losing their
I'm going
heads,
with
bro. I
that.
mean, they were total winner, but I mean,
Yeah, man.
even in midfield, they feel it today. That can't play midweek because Kamavinga was suspended of the yellow alone, let alone the fact
Yeah.
that he got red later on in the game. Um, but yeah, boy. So
GG's.
you said 0-0, I
0-0.
said
Yeah.
2-2. Nice, cool. All right, let me go a little bit faster. You have to
Cool.
have anything at all on this Dortmund game you want to talk about?
Dortmund. Barca versus Dortmund. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I want to talk about it a little
How
bit.
much time you got to tell about that Yamal is the next cover that Messi, Lewandowski is
Jamal is Black Messi.
he
He
is at
is.
this point. And you know, Brandon said that he thinks that PSG versus Barca will be the ideal final, and I could completely understand why it is. The two of them seem to be like the two most attacking teams in the world, and obviously the two of them are the two teams that they are left in the competition. But Lewandowski really seems to be like really improving his legacy with this year in particular for
Yeah,
Barca.
you're right.
Obviously,
You're
he's
right.
won the league before, but like clutch games, clutch moments.
Yeah.
I asked you this the other day. I don't know if you remember the answer, but we were talking about how much goals Lewa has against Dortmund, and it's
Too much.
29 in 28 games. Like,
Yeah.
that is absolutely ridiculous,
That
especially
was
against your
average.
former team, bro. Like, that is so rude. No, it's not no ease ups, no nothing. Is one set of licks endlessly. But Barca did exactly what most people expected them to do.
Yeah.
And I think again, something similar to Real is that, like, I think in Dortmund, the thinking was that if Dortmund were to make a game of this, it had to be similar to a lot of what they've done before in showing up despite being underdogs and making the game hard for the opposition. But at no point did that seem to be the case. Obviously, Rafinha scored early. He has now equals Messi's greatest season ever in Champions League in terms of goals and assists.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful campaign by him. And yeah, bro, we want to see about this game. And is it the
Um.
Barca B or C team we're gonna see in the second leg?
Good question. I think it will be the A team again, because
I think so too.
this guy doesn't really take risks like that. So I think
Yeah.
the motive probably gonna be try to score early again and
Mm-hmm.
see if he could take a lead into the first half, and then he probably go with some rotations. I think Araujo might start the game though. In all fairness,
Okay.
I think that might be
I
one
think
one
Fermin might
rotation.
start too.
He started the last game too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But I think he's very
All one off
important to
it.
the way that I'm not sure. But Fermin should have started that game regardless. I think he would have, because he's really important to the way that Barcelona press.
Yeah.
So, because he's like a pit bull inside of there now. So, yeah, man,
Yeah.
he's important. And in the bigger games, I think he will always start. I think if they won Champions League final, I think he'll probably start. He's really important to the what you call it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Marine starting at left back, and then I think that's it. I think everybody else who
Yeah.
should start will start, and then maybe have rotations at halftime. I'm not the manager though, so I'm really just guessing. Let's talk about the game a little bit now. I thought the game could have been different, because Girassi had some good chances and just
He
threw it
did.
away. So I
I
was
given
glad
the
for
season
him.
he's
Like,
been having,
shout out to him
I think he should do better with those chances. But it is what
for
it is.
sure. But
Yeah.
again, shout out to him. I want to see what his XG was real quick. I just checking. So he had
Sure,
a
no problem.
0.64 XG and missed two big chances. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying then. He should have scored.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
he definitely should have scored. But hey, look, Barcelona played some really good stuff. Lewandowski celebrated against Dortmund, which I thought was hilarious. I didn't think he had
Probably
it coming,
for the
but
25th time at this point.
probably,
He probably gave up
probably.
after the first four, said, look, I can't not
Yeah,
celebrate
yeah,
against
yeah.
one for the rest of my life.
Yeah, facts. Fair enough. But hey, I think I guess the game went just as predicted. I think I predicted 4-1. And it was 4-0. But still good. Still
Nah, that was
still good.
great. That was great.
And they should go through from
Um,
here, right? I can't see Dortmund
yeah, bro,
turning it around.
there is no hope for Dortmund. Like, and I don't even mean that to be crass or nothing. It's just, no, this Dortmund team is terrible. They actually did win on the weekend, by the way, but like they're just not in a
Yeah.
good place. Cool.
Barcelona
Moving on.
versus
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal could be a nice final if you think about it. that she
Bro,
could be at
I
that time.
think well obviously there's a reason I would want that, right? But like I also think like it would be poetic that for that to be the final for and for Arsenal to win it. Just because the last time they were at the final, it was also against Barca, you know?
Mm.
And so like come like your chance to make it right, a
Yeah.
do over against the same team, you know? So yeah. I mean I would also like it too because like I do think that there's a lot of contrasted styles. And I do think that like Arsenal are one of I think like probably peak City, but City's not really all that right now. I think Arsenal are one of if not the best team at playing through presses. You know, I give them the way that you all play. I think like the contrasted style is gonna be amazing to see like
Yeah, it's
which
gonna be
one
really
comes out
nice.
on top. You know,
For sure.
because he's not my cup of tea, but like Raya, I think is one of the best keepers in the world in helping Perica press and
Yep.
his ability to like pop up in pockets, help the team pass through presses, stuff like that. And like Barca's one of the best pressing teams in the world. So we see how it goes, you know?
I
Anything
mean,
else on this tie? Anything at all?
no. Let's move to
Imagine
the.
dog, this thing, you can't get back in this side of it. Why life real funny, is it?
He could though. He just not fit yet.
No what do you do?
At at this point, nah.
Nah. Dog.
That would be harsh.
Again, bro, imagine that too though. Shes news our boy who Arsenal fan play for Arsenal for many years. I might keep against Arsenal at Champions League final. All that to it. All that
Potentially.
to it. All right. I'll be so real with you. I already know about the predictions for the second leg because
We might as well. Let's see if
all
we
right, I will
what
go
are you gonna take?
for
2 seconds.
1-3 to Barca.
1-3. Yeah, I think Dortmund will
Yeah.
score too. So I go in 2-1 to Barca.
Cool. Nice. Next up, Aston Villa versus PSG. We just mentioned PSG quickly as being one of the best attacking teams. Salik felt like if Unai Emery got the lineup a bit wrong, especially leaving out Watkins. How did you feel when you saw the teams came out?
I thought Watkins would have started as well.
Yeah.
Because Rashford is plain and simple, just not even a good striker. So I don't care about
Yeah,
what he
he's not a good
inform or
nine.
whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand what the plan was because what you call it? It was one attacker and then like Ramsey, McGinn, Rogers. I mean, to be fair, Rogers could play. He scored. Rogers is good, you know. It's just like, okay, you didn't play him number 10, first of all. And then you play him
Yeah.
next to two really conservative guys. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I feel it was too conservative from Henry. I think. And
Yeah.
defending is not really their strong suit, so why not go for it? And PSG were playing without Marquinhos. And their fullbacks get so high. So why
Yeah.
this was the time. This was the time to go for it. Now it's
Yeah.
like
And I
too
mean,
late.
bro, leading up to the game, you were talking about this, and again, I fully agree that like the way to beat PSG is to get up in their face. You need to make them sweat in the back line, force Donnarumma into errors, win the second balls, and counterplay them as fast as you can. And like that seems to no way have been in the thinking. And I don't see this with any kind of like vim or anything, but like it is like the most Unai Emery thing to overthink these games at these junctures, you
Yeah.
know, and not play to their strengths and more play based on what the opposition can do. And I mean, like the almost the entire game was an attack versus defense session.
Basically.
You
But
know,
that's how PSG
it
games just been.
no, but like it even have whether through PSG strength as well, but like as well a lack of resistance to make a game out of it. You know,
Yeah.
and it resulted in what we got here. I have zero hope for them. By the way, it might not seem like all that, but like Tavara goal was my favorite overall. And the
Yeah,
reason
that was
being,
bad.
I genuinely cannot tell you the last time I see somebody fake shot into that ball roll, dog. Like
Oh,
that a fake shot so clean, dog. And ball roll, top of the ball, take it and then whoop it with his left foot near post and dog. Like
yeah, that was nice. But Dewey goal
insane,
was really
bro.
good too. But
Dewey goal was also insane though. And somebody made that claim that he might be after Yamal the most talented attacker in the world of like these teenagers. And bro, like
maybe.
he's doing it though. He's doing it, you know. And I think that was his first start in the Champions League, and that is what he do in a
Yeah.
quarterfinal. Come
I mean,
on, dog.
hey,
Like
I
that
don't know.
is
I don't know. How is Ada Gula still a teenager?
He is, but he just don't play, and like that harms the case.
Yeah, but Mr.
Unfortunately, like
Talented. Usually
yeah, but
talented.
if we don't see a talent, like talent eventually stagnates. Unfortunately, especially for those who don't play. I really thought Ada would have played
Fair enough.
against Arsenal at some point too. You know, like you already lose it 3-0. I thought he'd have tried to at least bring him on and see if he'd have feed him back in behind or something, but we didn't
Fair
see that.
point.
But I do think Dewey is up there. I think the talent is up
Nah,
there.
Dewey
I said
is
like
up
a
there.
few
Dewey
weeks
is really
ago.
good.
I think I said a few weeks ago, like he really reminds me of Neymar, the way that he dribbles.
He's
And
good.
like I do think there is a bit of that to him. Salik also said that Villa showed heart, but they are gonna need to show quality at Villa Park. Is there a way back for them into this tie? I mean, there's only a 2 goal deficit. You know, they get a goal early and then go searching, but then the problem is to keep the back door closed.
They're going to concede first of all, okay?
Yeah.
And again, it's the same analysis that I gave last week. And I'll just simplify it this time, so I'm not going to take so long. There's nothing they could do to stop PSG from scoring. That's the first problem, unless they get super lucky, or Martinez stands on his head.
Yeah. Or
I
Allison
don't
signed
know.
for
It,
Villa.
it could happen, but yeah, it could. I mean, even that though, because they still knock them out. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
It had to be like it has to be like PSG bottle it, like truly. Like
Basically,
I like unlike, like what I was saying with Arsenal before, like PSG does have a record of crumbling to leads in this tournament. But I truly don't believe that this is that same PSG team. I
yeah,
really think
there's
this
no
is a
doubt.
team that has stomach and fight and a bit more character growing amongst them.
But Villa have to go for
So
it though. They have no choice. They have
yeah,
to
they
go
have
for it.
to.
Please
They have
start
to.
some actual attackers. And
Yeah.
but I think pace. I think pace is the way to go. Go Rashford
You
on
know,
left, Watkins down the middle, Rogers
yeah.
behind them.
This
Probably
real
more
random, man,
consensual.
but I wish they had put the 2 English games on the same day. Just for sheer reason,
Ah,
like I think I really wanted to watch the Inter versus Bayern game. And like that going on the same time the Arsenal game was just out of diamond. Because like I do think like those 2 teams, those 2 ties, the 4 teams involved were closer in level as compared to Barca to Dortmund and then PSG to Villa. And what I make for greater watches for neutrals. But before we move on, well, we have been keeping it, so let's keep it going. What is your score prediction?
I went through one again.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3-1, but
Fair
given that
enough. I
you
agree.
said 3-1, I'm gonna say 2-3. You'll
Nice.
get 2 goals out of something. Rashford might score a screamer, you
He
know?
might.
Yeah, like that. That's something. That's okay. Okay, cool. Last one. Inter versus Bayern.
Yeah,
So
that's a good game.
it was a good game, and I do think that Inter did really, really well. I know that Dortmund and Bayern had a lot of chances, but I do think that Inter did really well, especially in the second half of this game when I rewatched it. And I kind of expect them to go through still. But the number one note here that Salik had is that Kane, your legacy is on the line. How do you respond? I mean, the first side, Kane had a golden edge chance at 0-0, and like it does feel like those misses just seem to plague his career. Do you think that Bayern will respond in the second leg?
They could, they could because they made way more chances than I thought they would have. Yo, that game could have been
Mm-hmm.
ugly to be honest. Because apart from that chance, Kane had other chances too. He had some headers that I thought,
Yeah,
normally he does score those. Like he had other chances. Other players had chances too. At least had a couple chances.
yeah,
Sane, if I remember, had one that on the left and then kind of cut it across, but he hit it straight at the keeper. Anyway, doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is that this game could have been so different, and I didn't expect that because I thought that Bayern would have really struggled to crack open that defense, and maybe Kane would have
yeah.
get something like I was more thinking like a penalty or something like that. But in the end, it almost seemed like, especially in the first half, that they were making chances easily, and sometimes Kane is just such a rubbish truck when he ready, dog. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on. I don't, like that chance that at least set him up with in the box. I don't know how he missed that, dog. Honestly,
Yeah,
that is bread and butter. He had time, space. The keeper was way out of
strong
position. He had
foot,
everything. Like,
body angle, everything,
friend,
and
pass it in. I don't know
yeah,
how.
bro.
I
And
don't
I
know
mean,
how he
like
hit the post.
it, and like this is where like unless somebody can come and give me a better answer than this, it just feels like it is coming to him feeling the pressure in these moments. Because like it's about just him executing what he has done literally like 300 times in his career.
Yeah.
And it's not a hard chance. It really isn't. It's not one where like, he under I want stop pressure, just take care. And unfortunately he didn't. Um However, who did though? And I mean like I thought like only while we was recording last week, this title was probably kind of real fitting in a sense. Like Lautaro is somebody who has
Mm-hmm.
struggled with making his name in the biggest moments and leading off last year, where he actually did score in the Copa America final to win it for Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
He scored a ridiculous goal in this league.
Yeah,
Marcus
but
Thuram with some fantastic centre forward play to
yep,
set
yep.
them up as well. And obviously, the two of them have such a great tandem. But like, what do you think about the Lautaro goal, that moment, and then tell me like more on what you feel about Inter for them in the second leg?
Well, that's a big moment for Lautaro because for a couple seasons now he been putting his name out there as one of the top strikers in the world, right? But then
Yeah,
sometimes one or two performances just leave people questioning. Sometimes with Argentina, sometimes with Inter, you know.
yeah,
The weird thing for Lautaro though is that Inter play in a way, or the manager chooses to play in a way where players don't seem to get enough like consistent. Players don't get the chance to build consistency. He rotates like a madman. If you see
he
where I'm coming
does.
from,
Yeah,
so and that's not easy for strikers. Strikers thrive off of that consistency. That was just for me to hammer in that was a really big goal
yeah, bro.
for
Yeah,
Lautaro. Probably even for his career. Maybe he has aspirations of moving to bigger teams in the summer. I think that's a really big goal for his career, especially if that becomes the defining moment that pushes them on to advance to the semifinals now. You know what I mean?
yeah. Um, But the second leg obviously is in San Siro,
Yeah.
and I think that amidst that, yes, I do think that Bayern did get a lot more chances, but I also think that Barella had a fantastic game in the midfield. And like he's just a player that I have liked a lot over the last few years, and I think he'll continue to be a really key part. Him and Hakan in particular. Obviously for Tessie, he's the one that actually got the winner. But do you give Bayern any chance in the second leg?
No, I do
And
though.
if
I do.
okay,
I really do. I think they might even win it. I think they might advance, to be honest.
okay,
But it's not easy
right.
to get right in the San Siro. But just thinking back to they created a lot of chances. And Inter didn't create many chances.
Yeah.
And
I
if
want
Bayern
to
could
say their fullbacks was missing for the game end, but I don't think
Inter,
they're gonna come
DeMarco
back
and
anyway.
Dumfries didn't start.
Yeah, and I want to say that they're
But
not
DeMarco
coming
was
back for
fit though.
this.
DeMarco was
The
fit.
Marco was fit.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just didn't start him.
I want to say that Dumfries wasn't fit there,
Yeah, he
but
wasn't,
I,
and he's probably not playing the second leg.
yeah,
Yeah, but DeMarco was fit, and they just again, Inzaghi does have his reasons, I guess, but I
he
never know
does.
who going to start except
Yeah, boy.
Bastoni and the keeper. But anybody else could play.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I watching Damian and Augusto is not the kind of wing backs you want having to deal. Like, I mean, I don't think Sani is all there anymore, but you definitely don't want somebody like Augusto dealing with all these things, you
Yeah,
know? So,
but it could be anybody. Like he could even put Pavard there if he feel to, and go Bisek in Pavard's spot and have Pavard out there.
hmm, it says Dumfries is set to return late April. So we're
Yeah,
probably
well,
looking at the same lineup. Maybe
yeah,
DiMarco if he feeling that one.
yeah.
Um, but that is it. All right, cool. I gonna still give Inter the edge, but I'm gonna say that it's gonna be 2-all. Inter will go try and aggregate.
I go in 3-1. I think Bayern have it.
3-1. or 1-3.
Yeah. Think Bayern going and shock
Nice.
them, and then they're going to fall to Barcelona. In Jesus' name.
Well, yeah, no, for sure, because they're not no, but yeah, we didn't have to go that. All right, cool. In terms of league stuff, truthfully,
Oh
I
yeah.
really have much to say. I think like almost every Prem team has been disappointed by this weekend. I mean, to be fair, I didn't watch the football today, but I saw the score lines and it's like 4-1 to Newcastle, bro. Like, I mean,
I watched
I
that
think
game
Newcastle are
actually.
very much pulled to go on and obviously make this top four. In fact,
Yeah.
it might be even more. Obviously, Arsenal have had focus on the Champions League, which is out them retreating at the weekend. And I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I think that if City had won last week, and if Forest had win any of the last two games, Arsenal might have felt a bit more pressured in the second spot. But I think with 6 games to go, I do think that like once that the Madrid tie is out of the way, that Arsenal would play a little bit more serious lineups and they'll get enough points to make sure they stay second.
Yeah, they should be.
But Forest lose it 2 weeks in a row, bro. To Everton too. Like that
Yeah.
was crazy. Didn't expect it.
But
Newcastle
Wood is
obviously
back.
won. Yeah, Chris Wood is now back. Mamouche scored. I want to say yes. KDB had a fantastic game. As they put Crystal Palace. So then Chelsea, bro, like, what's going on, man? What's going on with Chelsea? You have any word for Chelsea?
I didn't watch
It
that
like
game.
no Chelsea. Chelsea could very much finish 6th or 7th at this rate. Like,
Which is crazy considering they were in a title race. So it's wild
yeah, they were.
stuff.
Just a quick note on Amorim and Man United, which we always love to see those. Man United, so people were saying that, Amorim need time because Arteta got time and whatever, right? Mikel Arteta's first 21 league games with Arsenal won 9, drawn 7, lost 5. Scored 32, conceded 21, right? Not great. Now all that took over mid-season, there was 15th, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
United first 21 league games under Ruben Amorim. Win 6, drew 5, lost 10,
Yeah.
scored 25, conceded 33.
Yeah. The concession is a big one. And I was watching, I mean, from the game today, is like, how many games have they had with him? 15? 16?
21 in
20?
the league.
Okay,
21 in the
21
league,
games.
and
Great.
yeah.
21 games with Amorim, right? That is far
Yeah.
too much time to still not understand how to even build. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
can't even build. Like, so anyway, watch the highlights when you got a chance. All
I
the
will.
goals were scored from pressing.
So I saw
All four.
some. I watched one of my YouTubers, Lyles. I did watch his feedback on the game. So I did hear that build was a big issue. I heard him say that Ugarte is one of the worst signings this club has ever made, and I mean, it's rough. It's rough.
No, but their
Edison
build
gas
is
this week.
stinky though. Their build is
Yeah,
really
no, it is, bro. And I mean, like Bayern there, I don't think is a keeper that's really made for that. Onana is, but unfortunately, Onana has forgotten all reason to keep in.
No, but this is the thing though. Like they drop Onana. Like they didn't even drop him to the bench, by the way. He didn't even get
Yeah, they
called
didn't
for the
leave him
game.
home. They leave
Yeah.
him home.
They left him home, and now they're going to have to bring him to every other game because this Bayern fella made like 2
It's not
errors leading to goal.
Yeah.
Like the last goal was him. He couldn't even chip the ball over Jolinton. He chipped it
The
to his
real
forehead.
problem is
Jolinton nodded it down, and then they scored.
the
That's
real
simple.
problem is why he could not make an error directly to Isak from my FPL.
That would have been great.
That would have been
He
great.
actually saved. He made a huge save against Isak actually,
Yeah,
and that's when I
but
thought like, okay, maybe this guy is good. But yo, he stinks in build up.
yeah,
He
yeah,
kept
yeah.
giving the ball away, and he's play people into pressure as well.
I
He's
mean,
not
bro,
gonna-
today was
I don't
just
say it. Let's see.
wild because like Forest went 4-2 against Spurs too.
Yeah,
Like,
was
honestly,
winning.
bro, like
Wolves win against Spurs.
yes, I did. Sorry, Liverpool did win though, and so I believe they're like 2 games closer to the title now. 2 games away from winning the title.
Yeah.
But like, dog, I know Chelsea is like way above Spurs and United, right? But
Uh-huh.
like the three of them, bro, are honestly an embarrassment at this point, boy. Like, I'm sorry to say that. And like, while I should not be grouping Chelsea with Spurs and United, though Chelsea have had 5 wins since New Year's.
Yeah, the
We are
Chelsea
4 months
downfall is
later.
crazy.
Like, and like again, I don't see this out of Rabs, you know. That is pitiful. That's inexcusable. That's a
That's terrible.
horrendous dog. That's so
Terrible.
not good enough. You know.
That is.
You mentioned earlier that Mbappe tried to take out her man's foot with this ridiculous challenge, and I don't know how it
I
was
know,
not
bro.
read in real time. It had to be
Yeah, boy.
reviewed, but they did get it win in the end. Vinicius also had a terrible challenge as well too, and like as I say, bro, these men they might really be losing their head.
Yeah.
Um, to your benefit, because I mean,
Oh yeah.
obviously, y'all had to play them in the Copa del Rey final and still
Oh yeah. The
have
treble
a
is still on.
Clasico to go. Um, both Bayern and Bayer Leverkusen drew this weekend, so apparently neither of them won the title. And the last thing is I think Inter did win this weekend. Yeah, they won 3-1. Yeah, nice. Cool. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
A short pod, guys. But the more important thing was to talk about the Champions League and to talk about how next week's gonna go. If it had one of these game spots that you think was most likely for the upset, you would say it's Bayern.
Yeah. Well, I even
And you
predicted
know
that.
what,
So
bro? I agree.
yeah, I
I
think
don't think it'll happen, but I do think that's the most likely tie. And
I think it will
as
happen.
yeah, I know. But I just say it from my point of view now. And as like say, Harry Kane, bro, you gotta rise, dog. It's not like I hate, or want to hate whatever. Like, dog, somebody of his capability, of his records, whatever.
Yeah.
Rise up, bro. Like make it happen. Make it happen
Yes,
because
please.
you want it. Like forget Bayern. Make it happen because you want it. You know? So let me see what we have. Thank you guys as always. And share this with somebody. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll catch
Oh
you
yeah.
guys next time. See you soon. Take it easy. Later.